For those of you who are friends or at least curious about Spicy Demon, who listen to the last show, or follow her DeviantArt or Bright Ideas DeviantArt, this is going to be a delicate matter. According to Bright Ideas' recent post, which is in part provided by Watchful Pony, kind of funny, that sounds like a news channel kind of name. This is news with Watchful's watchings. Don't get any ideas, I don't want any competition. Spicy Demon is in fact alive. There is a tiny, teeny kind of flub though. Itty bitty misnomer was that Spicy Demon was hijacked, supposedly. This story has changed, and I would encourage everyone to remain skeptical until Spicy can come back. Supposedly, Spicy has made the death post herself, being overwhelmed by her inability to work on her commissions, and she felt helpless. Now, if Spicy can't work on commissions, she can't work on commissions. Hungry Soma's fiance, Bonzato, forgive me if I got that wrong, who's done this amazing artwork for Spirit Productions, the only person Kichi trusts to draw her chest, does amazing work. Recently, he got hit by some really bad food poisoning, and he's asking customers for some time. And part of buying artwork is that real life does happen, but that's also a two-way street. Bonzato sent out an email to those 15 slots that he owed art to. It was very professional, very polite, and while I think Spicy is a cool cat, HoriXZ0n, I'm going to be super gentle here. We're going to treat this like an isolated incident. The last time I had purchased your art, something didn't go according as I wanted. It wasn't a massive big deal. I'm a little spoiled by working with people like Mimikage, Gray Silvermane, Agan Naga, Empty Brook. Well, you get the idea. Again, no one bully or harass or call Spicy a horrible person. I don't believe that there was any ill intent here. I think in a perfect ideal world, I should have just tossed her $30. But to be completely honest, with so many starving artists willing to work to eat, I probably wouldn't have tossed that money for free. I know that sounds horrible. Lethal Aurora Mage is having a rough time, and that got wrapped up for me in Kichi in under a week. I mean, just look at this art. And what's more, we didn't have to pay her up front. We got to see, at least in the sketch stage, which was something Spicy refused to do, and the last time I commissioned her. All this said, you're a nice person. I like your artwork. But I don't think you have any business asking for money up front, with zero work done in the future. I understand that you can't work now, and that's all well and good. Calm down, get your bearings. But next time, I would definitely offer sketches to your paying customers before they pay. No. You have lost the right to be paid up front after this one. Toon Critic has started a movement in the Brony community regarding Saphire Heart Song called #RespectTheArtist. Being critical, you have done a disservice to yourself as well as everyone else who's bought commissions off of you. People are going to think twice before they pay someone else up front. You need to respect the customer and your fellow artists. Practices like these have a ripple effect and reflect poorly on the goodwill of the community. Tricky Fox, another of Spicy customers, said that he was going to be contacting PayPal to get a refund on his money. And yes, Spicy, you refused him a sketch as well. Hi, do you need a break from all this downerness? Do you like talented musicians? Are you potentially Hamilton trash? Well, boy, do I have something special for you. So anyways, 3 years ago, Tommy Oliver started a winter wrap-up trend. Whenever you get over 3K subs, you sing winter wrap-up. Now, while I'm not quite there just yet, I'm gonna cheat because why not? And not just a little. Also 3 years ago, I Love Kim Possible a lot, took that idea and said, well, screw that noise, I'm gonna sing what I want. Now, I got some good news and some more good news. I think Winter Wrap-Up is garbage and I can't sing. Like KP, I'm changing the song. But, well, since tradition, I still owe you guys something. So, this is BriLizy T. She's an amazing singer. This is HoriXZ0n. He's the single best Brony musician ever. Just ask him, he'll tell you. Please don't forget to check out both of these amazing artists.
They say the price of my war's not a price that they're willing to pay. Insane. You cheat with the French, now I'm fighting with France and with Spain. I'm so blue. I thought that we'd made an arrangement when you went away. You were mine to subdue. Well, even despite our estrangement, I've got a small query for you. What comes next? You've been freed. Do you know how hard it is to lead? You're on your own. Awesome! Wow! Do you have a clue what happens now? Oceans rise, empires fall. It's much harder when it's all your call. All alone, cross the sea. When your people say they hate you, don't come crawling back to me. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da. You're on your own.
Hi guys. I'm adding some additional stuff. First, this is Ski Hound. He was formerly on King of Limbo. He did an interesting video where he reads off Troll from Encyclopedia Dramatica. Let's be honest. Do you like reading? I know I don't. Please support this content creator by going here and watching his work, so he can make our lives easier. I watched half of his video and only muted it because everyone else in the call stopped talking to listen. Which means 10 people thought listening to this was more interesting than talking to each other. Also, this is kind of a self-plug, but I'm going to be moving my analysis of the show to Analysis Daily. Recently, the discussion came up whether Season 5 was better than Season 6. If I can ever stop doing podcasts or drama videos, I might do a video on this. Here's the catch, all you forced positivity dullards out there, I'm gonna play by your rules. That's right, I'm only gonna cover the best episodes.
FNGR, you found a way to be negative while being positive.
I have. So anyways, some of you guys might have heard Lilli Pete got a copyright strike from former Analysis Daily winner Saphire Heart Song. This is the artwork in question done by Saphire Heart Song. This drama started simply because Saphire Heart Song wanted to be credited for this piece. Miss Heart Song would be more than likely to have released this strike if Lilli Pete had credited her. I'm going to draw on my prophetic powers of divination and assume this is not going to happen. Lilli could have edited the text in the description or just have said, hey, can I credit you next time? Or here's a crazy one, how about I commission you instead? Hell, you could have paid Saphire to have made fun of some tacky asshole like say FNGR, she probably would have done it. Also, while YouTube takes videos down pending an appeal, it's supposed to remain down. This is in the terms of service, Lilli. You should thank your lucky stars that Saphire Heart Song isn't petty enough to go back and file a claim for evasion of YouTube's policies, since we both know this first strike will likely last 10 business days. That would be a community guideline strike for the second video. If we used our good friend Jim Sterling when he dealt with digital homicide, there's one thing he didn't do. He didn't re-upload the striked content before it won its appeal.
Classic last resort, that final tool in the box for the cowardly developer who gets desperate enough to silence a critic. A full week after the publication of my original video, I received a notice that the Slaughtering Grounds' publisher, Digital Homicide LLC, had filed a copyright strike against it, effectively removing it from YouTube and fucking with my channel in a number of ways. This kind of behaviour is often a knee-jerk response to criticism. It's what Funcom and Wild Games did to Total Biscuit. In this case, though, it wasn't really knee-jerk since it was their last gambit, which makes it even more ridiculous since we all know how these things go. Despite all the bluster, YouTube eventually reinstated the video after 2 whole weeks, something that happens when a developer effectively runs out the timer on the takedown strikes without doing anything further.
I myself am fending off a flag on one of my side channels on 3 videos. Yes, it's tempting to load that shit back up again, but YouTube needs time to review the claim and wait 10 business days. I'm sure Lilli will talk on how this is some heroic move in defense of her right of self-expression. Except if I listen, Lilli Pete came on King of Limbo about getting permission from the content creator. You did something you and your own views know to be wrong.
You report on nothing but drama. And that was the point. I just decided, no, I don't want my work put up on Equestria Daily. And on 2 occasions now, I've had to email Sothisto directly saying, you've posted my work on your site, take it down.
Ever notice this podcast is just a gift that keeps on giving? It's a wealth of contradictions in which Lilli Pete says, then does. Recently, Lilli Pete announced that Saphire Heart Song is going to get a glass of water. Now, I've had people such as Shelly D, Not a Poker Chip Napsy, and Razor Reviews say, you know, this whole thing is stupid. And with Napsy's case, going so far as to say that he sides with Lilli Pete slightly. So let's be honest, because honesty has always been the best troll. This is stupid. If you feel the strike is a gross overreaction, you're right. In a normal circumstance, 2 adults would have sat down and would have talked things out. I myself, when I had a spat with Saphire Heart Song, had a similar matter wrapped up in 3 days. Let's review why this is eerily similar. Back in the day, Limbo Keyframe had a GoFundMe. Back in the day, Corpulent Brony was in limbo and said something along the lines of, looks kinda fishy. Now, I don't recall all the details. This was well over a year ago now. Saphire, being a friend to Keyframe, was strongly imposing her will for me to handle the situation, to which I said, looks kinda fishy, feels kinda like a vague general statement, and is far from mean-spirited, and if you disagree with the statement, I would hardly call it a modding issue. Shortly after, Rosie Seaver's podcast went on where we had Mad Munchkin as a co-host. A similar issue repeated itself to that approximate time, this time with more gusto and vigor and insistence, and I do believe that Saphire used the language, limbo lowlife. I forget the fact my ex-girlfriend was in the room at that time.
You have a lot of those, sir.
Eat a dick, Jeff. Keyframe was in that room, so I kicked Saphire out. I don't feel like I had a lot of options at that point, and from there, she dumped chat logs from Limbo into the Analysis Rift, which, at that time, surprise surprise, I was banned from, but that's another story. Now bear with me, there is a point to this. The whole matter was kinda dumb. Till this day, Mad Munchkin considers me an asshole for it. It was the last time that I had talked to Puzzle Piece, which was his call, not mine. Now, whether or not I was right in that whole matter, I feel I started out right to begin with. Does that sound familiar? And it quickly spun out of control. Oddly enough, if you know Finn from Analysis Daily, Good Stuff, or Dr. Wolf's channel, etc., he sat down with myself and Saphire, and we patched things up in about 3 days. Dear Lilli, you respect Finn. We all agree he's a nice guy. You could go and seek his advice out. Look, realistically, you're really angry, and if you need to make that glass of water on Sappy, we've all seen that coming a mile away. And there's nothing that's likely going to stop that. You can go to your garage and hit your punching bag and work out all your mommy and daddy issues. But when you're done, I would strongly encourage you to go back to acting like an adult. I personally understand it's hard, and it may take you 6 to 7 times longer than it took me. And that's okay. That said, when you ignore someone or block them in a cyber fashion of slamming the door in someone's face, it's a dick move. And when you're in the middle of having a discussion about a delicate topic about giving an artist credit, slamming that door isn't just a dick move, it's an unwise one. We both know you're going to liken yourself to Jim Sterling and Saphire to the Slaughtering Grounds in this one. Here's the problem with that. Saphire had you wait 3 business days to think it over and ended the matter. Jim Sterling actually talked to the Slaughtering Grounds. It's recorded. Jim Sterling bought a game made by the Slaughtering Grounds in which he reviewed the damn thing. You did not buy art off of Saphire, nor did you review her content when you used it. Like, if your original video was on Saphire, if you totally hated her work, which you may or may not, would I still be doing a video? Well, that likely would have boiled down to taste. Whereas if you're having a discussion with people slamming the door in their faces as a reoccurring occurrence, hell, you didn't like it when Josh did this to you. I talked a while back on how Not To Brony 17, King Takes Joker 2.0. This is ultimately an issue that Josh Scorcher needs to handle. I know I sound like a broken record, but it is. It still very much is. Josh, we've seen you out in the comments section of 2 videos in a row, so don't act like you don't see this. Saphire Heart Song can't do your job now, nor can I. Nor can Dr. Wolf, nor can Silverquill. You, whether you want to admit it or not, have Lilli Pete's ear. You've convinced yourself you're some kind of battered spouse. You're a former US Marine, for fuck's sake. Saphire Heart Song is a goddamn artist. Can you get off your ass, maybe? Not one of my friends, not me. Don't go talk to Kichi. You need to get off your big fat ass and walk over to Tumblr over here and fucking talk. So maybe next time an artist needs to have a serious word with Lilli, they can be heard out. Yes, it's going to be unpleasant. Yes, it's going to be the worst day in your week when you do it. But it's something that needs to happen. I don't want to hear how things could have been handled better versus how you can handle things better now. This is unless, of course, Saphire Heart Song doesn't deserve the same defense you gave to yourself, Ink Rose, and conservatives. Am I being a manipulative little shit? You bet your ass I am, but I'm doing it for a friend. And doing nothing at all is never the right answer. But also, Lilli, a series of bronies including Toon Critic, Kichi FIM, Brawny, and myself all talked to Saphire pre-strike on what should be done. There were a lot of people in that call, Even people who can't stand each other wanted you to get that strike because you're a complete insufferable ass. Brony and Toon Critic are polar opposites, and when they can both agree that you're a jagoff, albeit in different reasons, you're kinda fucking up. I've literally never seen someone so talented try so hard to be so unlikable. I wanna ask Lilli Pete's fans this one. If this was so essential to do, then riddle me this. Why is there no glass of water for no good reason? Surely I've been a bigger scourge on Lilli, and a far worse brony than Saphire has ever been. I'd love to hear how that's anything other than true. Even after all of that, I'm still holding the door open for you. Failing that, remember that last good stuff? The Britney Nay pony? She, as you can see, is on good stuff. Wouldn't you know it, she's on Toon Critic's friend list. And you know what's cool? I, KichiFIM, Saphire Heart Song, and Toon Critic had a concerned talk with Britney. She was very polite. Did you know that she's dating watch ponies? Her commissions are also open, and she has some really reasonable rates. I'm not gonna do anything with this. At least not now. Your problem, Pete, is I, or rather we, are willing to go out and talk to artists. You are not. I don't wish to deprive Britney of her moment and exposure in the sun. She needs it. Like literally. She's in a real rough spot right now. And while Toon Critic thinks that your move is a cold, calculated PR move, your motives don't interest me so much as the end result. So let me give you a little advice. You want to burn down a chunk of the analysis community. Sure, Josh took a massive axe to that a long time ago. Fans will not stand for you treating artists like analysts. You know what I don't get? Lilli Pete was roughly making about $513 on Patreon, roughly, before she shut it off the number to the public. I know she was about 12 bucks away from overtaking Josh Scorcher. Now, by no stretch of the imagination was this digi money, but it was nothing to scoff at. And then you started doing dumb shit, and quickly had to hide the amount because it's safe to assume that because you lost your ass. From a business perspective, why are you doing this? One more thing, about the Jim Sterling slaughtering grounds analogy. Jim Sterling, to the best of my knowledge, is widely regarded as being right even by people who don't like him in this matter. No one in the community has your back.
Do a little intro, and then we can get on with whatever it is you'd like to talk about. We'll let this be your day. I'll just say hello, I'm Jim Sterling. Many of you will know me from videos what I do on this channel, what you're presumably watching it on now. Unless Digital Homicide wants to host it on their website, they're more than welcome to do so. I'm here with Digital Homicide themselves. Hello.
Hello, this is Robert.
Tell you what, you can tell me how much money you lost because of the copyright strike for 3 days, and I'll see what I can do. You can go ask Orchid. I'm good for it. If not, I guess we'll see you back here in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, I had a massive piece I was going to use to cover Josh Scorcher, but there are members in Limbo who were threatening to revolt. Also, they felt it was getting old, so I'm gonna leave it out. You might ask yourself,
You totally did talk about Josh.
well, that was the G-rated Dr. Wolf neutered version. If you want to hear what I was gonna say, you better ask for it in the comments. I'm gonna hijack my own series to talk about something tedious, loathsome, boring, and devoid, and empty of value whatsoever. I'm of course talking about PewDiePie. If you're clicking off this video, please don't forget to downvote it. I'll understand. If you scream at me below, if you never come back, I'll understand. I have something to say. This man is empty-headed fluff. By design, he is meant to mass market to as wide an audience as possible. Pay attention to this point. It's not just your Uncle FNGR talking smack.
Arizona Republic. I think I read it in junior high or so. I actually tried Googling it, but I couldn't find it, so please forgive me, folks. It consisted of just 3 panels. In the first, an illustration of the Statue of Liberty with a massive sign at her feet that read quite plainly, "Free Speech." In the second, the same illustration, but now the sign has siblings. Accept racist speech, accept homophobic speech, accept insensitive speech, and obscured but still visible, the free speech sign glowers behind them. By the third panel, it's a picket sign pool party. Accept transphobic speech, accept violent speech, accept anti-religious speech, accept pro-religious speech. The free speech sign is thereby invisible, and just above the fray, the Statue of Liberty's torch is sputtering, soon to be extinguished.
Various people from Sargon of Akkad to Razorfist to the Armored Skeptic have bared their 2 cents on this one. First Amendment provides the government make no law to prevent the free exercise of religion, speech, press, and peaceable assembly. People seem to have gotten lost on the peace part lately, but let's not get sidetracked. There's no denying that Disney is a massive multi-billion-dollar company. But it's not the government, at least not yet. Now, no one should ever be deprived of the right to make a living. But from what the last time I heard, PewDiePie was worth $7 million. He's gonna be okay. If you're a fan of his work, he's readily accessible. I would imagine on YouTube, the place that made him. So if you can't find him, I can't help you. What happened here is that PewDiePie, a man who's known for being mostly safe, easily digestible to the masses, reached a wide, robust audience.
Living from doing YouTube videos. And the reason why you know this is because that's all the media has ever acknowledged before.
And did something in the greater scheme of things that was slightly edgy.
PewDiePie is YouTube's top talent. We are all doomed.
Before you call me an SJW, I'm going to tell you an anti-Semitic joke now. What's the difference between a pizza and a Jew? The pizza don't scream in the oven. Ha ha ha! Now, if I was working for Disney and they canned me over this, it would not be a First Amendment issue. PewDiePie doesn't create content to challenge people's minds.
Money is really all I've ever been acknowledged for.
Whatever differences of opinions that I might have with the Sargons or the Razors or the Armored Skeptics, hell, even Jim, every last one of those guys would deserve $7 million more likely than Pewdie, in my humble opinion, because whether you agree with what they stand for, there's a show of character or distinction, love it or hate it, that inspires. Let's say Disney, for whatever reason, hired the Amazing Atheist one day. And he put out a video, let's just say, talking about feminists. I know, hard to imagine. If Disney cut ties with him, I could at least understand the backlash because TJ would be doing something that would be characteristic to him. I would have assumed that he would have entered into a contract that wouldn't force him to shelf his principles because he'd read the damn thing. As you become more popular, as you become more accepted and far-reaching to reach a wider and wider audience, to keep that audience, you have to make up your mind what's important, being popular or self-expression. This is not the faces of a man who stood by his principles and took the road less traveled. I could be wrong, but I've heard somewhere that Disney owned a company that put out Pulp Fiction. Assuming that's true, it could just be urban myth. You know what you're getting when you hire Quentin Tarantino. Quentin's imperfections and expressions make him endearing and brilliant. In closing, I don't care if PewDiePie throws up a bedsheet on Sunday and goes out to liquefy the local minorities. I'm not his fan, cause he creates garbage. Sometimes people with something to say edgy things, and on some level, that has consequences. Sargon of Akkad might have 1 million subs if he pulled some of his punches. Razor Fist might have 200,000 subs. Or hell, even 2 million, if he was a little more safe. But then again, that wouldn't be them, and that wouldn't be their image. PewDiePie didn't get over telling Jew jokes. That class is today's moral. And you can't freely express yourself after trying to be openly appealing to as large an audience as possible without consequences. You can't have your cake and eat it too. 'Cause fuck you, that's why.
I'm looking for Marvel to uphold my every aberrant political view. I'm just looking for you to get your 1-inch wonder out of my free speech poop shoot. I'm Razor Fist God! Fuck!